And good morning, everyone,
Good morning, sir.
every participant. Welcome to this session on Bloom Taxonomy, Curriculum Design and Implementation. In this session, we shall discuss about Bloom Taxonomy, what it is, how it can be used to design curriculum, how it forms the basis of outcome-based education system. Now, Bloom Taxonomy, it was proposed by a educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom in 1956 and revised again in 2001 by another group of educationists, Anderson and Kremdahl. Now, it is a framework for classifying educational learning objectives into levels of complexity and specificity. That is, how one learns at various stages, said at the simple in a simple way or in a difficult way or in a complex way. So it provides a common language for communicating among educators and students about the learning outcomes or the educational objectives of any program. Now, this can be used to design learning outcomes, activities and assessment that match the level of understanding that learners are expected to achieve. So Bloom taxonomy provides us a guidelines, a framework of how one learns, how one can implement the various levels of learning by an individual. As for example, if we are teaching a lesson on Newton's laws, we could use Bloom taxonomy to create learning outcomes that cover different level understanding in the cognitive domain. Cognitive domain mean mental knowledge, mental learning. So Bloom taxonomy helps the teachers to design the curriculum, what students should learn, how to assess that, what are various activities which should be carried out, and the education that students arrive. In fact, Bloom taxonomy is the basis of student-centric, what is called education model, outcome-based education framework. Now, before I touch upon Bloom taxonomy details, I just want you to look at this slide, which is a slide of human brain. Here, I want to highlight that nature has given us the mental thinking abilities, that is cognitive. Our right brain is very efficient in numerical skills, mathematics, analytical ability, logic, reasoning, etc. And right brain is um, is is uh, is quite good, or it functions. It has emotions, intuition, creativity, recognition capabilities, and so on. Awareness. Now, the reason I'm giving you this thing, this is from the basis of Bloom taxonomy. Our nature has given us cognitive abilities. Nature has given us affective abilities. Affective means emotions, values. Cognitive implies mental. And nature has given us, and nature says the natural functions of human brain are thinking or cognition, perception or sensing, that is cognitive. We have feelings, we have our own behavior, that is affective. We have physical, bodily, semantic, what is called, or signal to environment, that is psychomotor. These natural functions are everyone, each one of us is endowed by nature. Now, what Bloom has done is studied these functions of human brain and then proposed that human learning may be categorized into three domains. Now, please appreciate this is something which you should be, once you appreciate this thing, many things will fall in line. Cognitive domain, that is knowledge, which is ahead, that is our thinking skills, mental skills. Psychomotor domains, that is manual or physical skills. Affective domain, that is feelings, emotion, attitude, etc. Kindly see, nature has already endowed these, and your brain is equipped with these attributes. And Bloom has proposed these three domains. These domains are further divided into hierarchical levels because cognitive domain divided into six levels, affective domain into five levels, and psychomotor domain also into five levels. Kindly appreciate these things will become simple. So cognitive skills means thinking, problem solving ability. It brings out students to think and solve problems methodologically. Affective skills, we have leading students to be more interactive with peers as well as self-confidence. That means they have they they have emotions, they need emotional growth, they have interpersonal skills, and then the psychomotor, that is the physical activity. So activities in classroom leading to experiential learning, that is the psychomotor skills. Now these learning abilities are already present in every human being. Now coming to the first level of Bloom, that is the cognitive or the mental level, this is divided into or categorized into six levels. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. It's quite possible that some of my respected participants are already familiar with this. So we may come across some repetition because when we are teaching through slides, then referring back and forth is not easy. So I have used certain slides which will be repetitive. Kindly bear with that. Now, when I say remember, it means recognizing and recalling facts. Your young child, if you ask the young child to recite a poem, he immediately recalls and remembers it. But if he says what he understand it or no, he says no. Bloom says the first thinking human being is remembering and recalling. Then being able to understand what he is saying, second level, third level. Then he has learned something, maybe rules, maybe facts, and he's able to apply that. Then he is able to analyze, he's able to understand the various parts of any information, any product or information or whole body. Then the next level, that human being has the ability to judge things, to value information, what is important, what is not important. And the highest level, as we call it, is the combining, creating something different, creating new information, creating a product by knowing what he has already done that. Now, please appreciate here, understanding that this is a hierarchical, structure of which is proposed by Bloom for cognitive learning of the student. So when we are children, we are good in remembering. As we grow, we start understanding things. As we grow, we start applying things, analyzing, and so on. As we go higher up this ladder, then the complexity of the learning becomes more and more complex. Kindly appreciate this thing. The creativity is much more complex than remembering. Remembering something is already exists, we just memorize that and remember it. Now, when we apply our knowledge, that knowledge becomes skill. So, as a convention, lower three thinking skills are characterized as lower order thinking skill, and skills corresponding to the upper three levels are categorized as higher order thinking skills. This is a nomenclature which is adopted universally in the context of Bloom taxonomy and mental learning. Now, when I say Bloom levels and thinking, in junior classes, most learning occurs at lower levels, that is knowledge, understanding, application. That means maybe say up to middle or eighth or ninth class. These things are important. Now, for example, one may be expected to learn the names and properties of chemical elements. That means merely knowledge. Then understand why some elements react with others, understanding. Then he is able to apply them, carry out certain experiments. So that's what the application is. These three levels are important or one learns according to these three levels in the lower classes. At these classes, memory and comprehension are necessary. Textbook and study guide present knowledge as absolute and unchanging. We only gain knowledge. So the textbook that we are using, especially maybe any class, mainly gives us knowledge. Now this text,
ग्रोवर साहब,
जी
हेलो। हाँ, ये आप स्लाइड मोड पे कर लोगे अपनी पीपीटी?
एक मिनट
स्लाइड मोड, हाँ।
अब ठीक है
यस, थोड़ी सी और भी बड़ी हो सकती है।
ना, और तो नहीं हो सकती। दिस इज स्लाइड मोड में है, कंटिन्यू करें।
हाँ।
And at these
नहीं।
levels, memory and comprehension are important. Now, please see here. Here, I want to highlight a point. See, our teaching and learning at present mainly is corresponding to the lower three levels. We are highly dependent on textbooks. Now, this is important, but this trend is not desirable as we go to the higher classes. Let us say we go to B Tech, E Pharma, M Tech. Then we need to develop higher thinking, higher level thinking, creativity among our students. So, which needs to be changed? We need to create knowledge, make our students skillful and innovative. So, focus on the upper three levels is important. Kindly appreciate this is very important because our NEP, the major emphasis now, the knowledge society demands our teaching learning should be such that students, our learners are creative, our learners are leaders, they can guide things, they are autonomous. Now, traditional teaching learning at the textbook level hinders these things, though there may be some natural abilities. Now, then I want to understand you to understand student learning outcome. Students undergo courses, students undergo programs, students undergo lectures. Now, each lecture or course or program has some learning for the student. Now, what is the learning outcome? Please appreciate this also. Learning outcome signifies knowledge. What do students know? It signifies skill. What can student do with that knowledge? Attitude and value. What is the ethical behavior of the students? What kind of motivation he has? What kind of personality development he has carried out? So behavior, what kind of his behavior is in the society, what kind of societal concerns, collaborative activities, persistence, and motoring and manual skills. Now please appreciate outcome is not same as output. The basis of outcome-based education model is the student outcome, which signifies, please remember these four components: knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. So when we educate a student, then we expect him not only to gain knowledge, but also to gain knowledge, develop skills, and become a good human being. How to teach and train students to imbibe and enhance these attributes. Now, how to embed these characteristics in our curriculum. That's where Bloom taxonomy guides us. Bloom taxonomy provides us a guide and framework for defining, for constructing the learning outcome of the students. Please remember, learning outcomes are measurable. Now, how to make them measurable? This is what Bloom taxonomy provides us a guideline. How does it does it? It does it by defining or by introducing some verbs. See, verbs indicate action. You all know that. Now, Bloom taxonomy provides a set of measurable verbs for different levels to define, design, and learning outcomes. That means, please appreciate, I'm repeating. Bloom taxonomy proposes a set of verbs in actions. Those actions enable us to design, to prepare student learning outcomes that in knowledge, skill, attitude, behavior, etc., which can be measured. That Bloom taxonomy gives us a guideline as to how to focus on the various levels with the help of action verbs. These verbs help us to design learning of the students which can be measured. And those, here is a sample works which are proposed. And here I want you to appreciate when I say remember, lowest level, so I say mention the name of few things. It is just, and if I look at the analyze, the words proposed are calculate, correlate, question, subdivide. If I am looking at the create, I say design, produce, substitute. That means the verbs which we use to design the learning outcome of the student, what he will learn, gives us a clear idea as to where we are focusing. Are we focusing at the lower levels or we are concentrating at the higher levels? Now, these verbs are a indicator for this purpose. Now, when I say remembering, what do we expect from the student to be able to do at knowledge and remembering level? Successfully solve textbook problems using appropriate techniques and procedures. That means students' knowledge is, let's say, is limited to what he has learned from the textbooks, what techniques he has learned, because he can remember those techniques. So he can express and communicate ideas, results into his own words, transform graphical or symbolic information, table, diagrams into making charts, etc., interpret and like this. So these are the introductory things which a student is expected to know and reproduce, and we say these are at the lower levels. So when I say understanding level, what do we expect from the student to be able to do at understanding level? Then he is able to solve textbook problems using appropriate techniques. देखो अगली बार तो सिर्फ वो जो दिया हुआ है वो रिप्रोड्यूस कर सकता है. In the understanding level, जो उसने वहाँ लर्न किया, he can solve textbook problem. That means easy problem. Now see, there are simple problems, difficult problems, intricate problems, complex problems. Problem has a variety of categories which we will share little later. When I say understanding level, student is expected to be able to solve those problems, translate graphical or symbolic information into tables, interpret some simple thing, then can use problem solution to determine trends, implement, etc. Now, when I say when he's at the application level, then what the student should be able to apply ideas, concepts, principles, theories, or general solution to various, even maybe difficult situations which he has not done earlier, which were learned at the knowledge and company level to newer situations. We see here, earlier he could do the problem which were already there by using known methods. Now he is able to apply them to solve problems which are in the newer situations. So solve problem in which solution method is not immediately obvious or clear. So at the analysis level, what do you expect from the student be able to do at analysis level? Can analyze results by breaking ideas, concepts, principles, theories, general solution method, reports, etc. That means he or she, student, is able to find out the better significance of the concept. He can explain the connection between various parts of a particular maybe product, can develop detailed cause and effect consequences. So this is what his ability is at the analysis level. Now please see here, to be able a good analyst, student should have a good, should be good in recalling things, should be good in applying things. Only then he can be a good analyst. Similarly, when I say, what do we expect from a student be able to do at the evaluation level? Which means he is able to make judgments. That means his maturity or his understanding or his knowledge has reached a stage where he can make value judgments based on certain criteria, such as usefulness and effectiveness, based on information gained through application, analysis, and synthesis, can rationally select a process, a method, a model, a design, etc., from among a set of various processes. That means he is able to make a decision. कौन सा मेथड यूज करना है, कौन सी प्रोसेस को किसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डिप्लॉय करना है. He, that means he has developed that ability to use what he has learned at the lower levels to do things which are, he is able to make judgment, good, bad, etc. To evaluate complete, for example, competing plans of action before actually starting the work. For work may have different planning, different plans ready. He is able to evaluate them. Now, to evaluate them, he should have the ability to understand. He should have the ability of remembering the facts. He should have the ability of applying the rules, etc. Evaluate work product based on internal standards of consistency, logical accuracy, and the absence of internal law. Can certify the feasible design has demonstrated report. That means he can take decisions. When he is able to evaluate, he can make decisions. Evaluate work product based on external standards of efficiency, cost, or utility. Most popular goals or objectives. Now, when I say creating, what do you expect student to learn? What do you expect from student to be able to do at the creating level? Generate idea. That means he is a creator. He has developed creativity. He has developed problem solving, and use them to create physical objects, maybe a product, maybe a report, maybe a process, or maybe a film, maybe a documentary. He's creating that, or even a set of abstract relations, mathematical models, creating a model, produce written or reports that have the desired effect, for example, information acquisition, acceptance, general project plan, design, etc. Kindly see here. Now I summarize as we go along. We as look at these levels now. Now in these levels, in order to be able to develop higher thinking skill, students should have good grasp of the lower levels. So kindly appreciate our goal in our education institutions, specifically in the higher education, should be to make student creators. Now, in order to make creators, our emphasis of teaching learning should focus on the upper three levels: analyze, evaluate, and create. The student, as I mentioned earlier, our students are quite good at in the low, as far as lower three levels are concerned, but we need to strengthen our upper three levels. Kindly see, this is what is Bloom taxonomy guides us. How to ignite higher thinking skills of students. Now, during the last about 15-20 years, internet has become also very common. And nowadays, this is the internet age. We use internet everywhere. So Bloom, the researchers have proposed that in order to highlight these 6 cognitive levels in the context of digital taxonomy, they have again proposed certain words for remembering, understanding, applying, and so on. Kindly see here, Googling, this word we never use in normal sense. We Google so many times. Every time we are Googling, we are sitting on the computer. We are recording, we are selecting. But look at the way creating an animation. Look at the way of producing a video. Look at the way of solving a cyber problem. So what educationists have done is that in the digital economy, in the digital age, how to categorize, how to emphasize the learning of the student so that he is able to do innovative things. He is able to be a good, for example, we have now fake news. He should be able to analyze these things and so on. The next domain, which is important and which I highlighted, was the Bloom affective domain. Affective domain concerns human values. Kindly see, this is very important again. I will tell you how. Our NEP highlights human value-based education system. We have courses only, but they are not embedded into daily life of a student. If we implement OBE effectively, OBE, and is based on Bloom taxonomy. And Bloom taxonomy second level, that is affective domain, concerns human values, emotions, feeling, attitude, and behavior. Kindly see, when I was talking about the learning outcome, attitude and behavior were two important components. It involves human value system, which include the manner we behave, deal with other human beings, things emotionally via feelings such as appreciation, gratitude, motivation, etc. When I'm appreciating the work of somebody else, when I am criticizing somebody else, when I am moting somebody else, I am using my right brain. Please see that. In the right brain, it concerns affective components. So human value is a part of human value. Nature has given us as a right brain, and Bloom taxonomy, second domain, highlight this thing. An affective domain talks about ways in which students respond to internal and external phenomena. That is effect. स्टूडेंट का रिस्पॉन्स क्या होता है व्हेन इज समबडी आस्क्स हिम डू थिंग इमोशनल है केयरिंग है हेल्पिंग है इट इंक्लूड्स इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट देयर वैल्यू things that spark enthusiasm as well as a aspect that motivate them. Motivation क्या होता है? It's a again a emotion. Enthusiasm क्या होता है? It's a value system. These are integrally built into the outcome-based education system through Bloom taxonomy. So affective domain also has levels. There are 5 levels: receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, internalizing, or value characterization. As we go up the ladder 1 to 3, they become more and more complex. Now let me share it with you. What is significant affective domain level? When I say receiving, what does it mean? Refer to the learner's ability. Student कितना sensitive है टीचर की बात मानने पर. Refer to learner students' sensitivity to the existence of stimuli. Stimuli mean कुछ कहना, कुछ सुनना, उसको फिर respond करना. Such as awareness, willingness to किसी की बात को सुनना, ध्यान से सुनना, किसी की बात को सुन के भूल जाना. So willingness or pay attention to effect, किसी चीज को ध्यान attention देना is receiving. Circumstances observed. The student listens attentively to teacher's explanation or shows interest in a topic. That is what is first level of affective domain. Second is, अब देखो स्टूडेंट ने बात तो सुन ली लेकिन एक कान से दूसरे कान से निकाल दी. तो रेफर टू लर्नर्स एक्टिव अटेंशन टू स्टिमुलाई एंड हिज मोटिवेशन टू लर्न सच एज कंप्लायंस, विलिंगनेस, रिस्पॉन्सेज. प्लीज सी हियर. स्टूडेंट को कहा ये ढंग से लिखो, राइट केयर नीटली, उसने सुन लिया, दैट इज रिसीविंग. जब वो प्रैक्टिस में लाता है, दैट इज रिस्पॉन्डिंग. So student participate in class discussion, ask questions, or follows directions. Active participation on the part of the learners, attends and react to particular phenomena, that is what the teacher says. The student responds. Valuing, refer to the learner's value, beliefs, and attitudes. वो किस चीज को इम्पोर्टेंस देता है, जैसे ऑनेस्टी है उसको इम्पोर्टेंस देता है, किसी के साथ केयर करना है उसको इम्पोर्टेंस देता है, किसी को हेल्पफुल होना, किसी मुश्किल में काम आना. So valuing refer to the learner's value, beliefs and attitude, acceptance, preference or commitment to a value, particular idea, etc. Valuing is based on internalization of specific value. मतलब स्टूडेंट ने पहले इतना सीख लिया, जैसे रिस्पेक्ट करना अच्छा होता है, that it रिस्पेक्ट करना किसकी करना, he is able to give value to that. By value is based on internalization of a system, a set of specific values. An example is student who values honesty may demonstrate it by refusing to cheat. That means honesty. A student who values environmental protection, कैसे दूसरों प्रोटेक्शन का, एनवायरनमेंट का ध्यान क्या रखना है. It's sensitive toward individual and cultural differences. Inform management of matter that feels strongly about. Please hear, that means student is giving value to these things. He respects other. Organization, refer to the learner's internalization of values and beliefs involving the conceptualization of values and the organization of the value system. He is able to internalize and then say what is important What is not important, कहाँ करना है, किसका रिस्पेक्ट करनी है, कैसी नहीं करनी है, and so on. As values of belief are internalized for the learner, he organizes value into priorities by contrasting different values, resolving conflict between them and creating a unique value system. Emphasis on comparing, relating, and synthesizing values. That means he understands values and is able to categorize them and is able to organize them. Example is accept responsibility for a one's behavior. अगर मैं उसने किसी के साथ झगड़ा हो गया है, अपनी गलती को मानता है, एक्सेप्ट प्रोफेशनल एथिकल स्टैंडर्ड फॉलो करता है, creates a life plan in harmony with abilities, prioritize time effectively. Now please see here, आपने एक attitude word use किया था. That attitude comes from affective domain. Internalizing values is very important. Now, for example, respecting the seniors, he values this thing. But sometimes he respects, sometimes he doesn't respect. But if it becomes his behavior, if it becomes my value system, then we say he has internalized the value. He has made value as a part of his living. When I say I should be grateful to others and I express gratefulness whenever somebody does any favor to me and I don't forget it, then it is internalized. पहले तो हाँ कर देंगे. अब प्लीज ये कैटेगरीज हैं which gives you an idea. This refers to the adoption, internalization of values and beliefs by the learner at the highest level. At this level, the learner is capable of practicing and acting on their values or beliefs. जो लेटर से वो कहता है कि एथिकल बिहेवियर होना चाहिए, वो ये नहीं कि सिर्फ कहता ही है, वो करता भी है, लाइफ में यूज भी करता है. एज वैल्यू सिस्टम दैट कंट्रोल बिहेवियर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स. हर एक के साथ मिल के रहना है. बिहेवियर इज नॉट ओनली एक दो के साथ, it's consistently observed. So whenever a attribute, a value become internalized, become an integral part of the human being, we say it's internalizing the values. So example is show self-reliance and working independently, cooperates in group activities, team working, displays a professional commitment to ethical practice, revises judgments and changes behavior. अगर नई एविडेंस आई है, ये नहीं जो मैंने कहा वही होगा, चेंज करता है. वैल्यूज पीपल फॉर व्हाट दे आर, नॉट हाउ दे आर. काइंडली सी, इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ ह्यूमन वैल्यूज. What human values are, at what level they are, how they affect a human being. And kindly see this slide. This is an excellent example. This child has affection, respect, helping attitude, which nature has built into him. And that's he is reflecting, because he doesn't know that's a bronze statue. All he understands is that this little Khargosh is a child who is not with his mother or father, and the mother is trying to pull him up. No one has told him anything. Nature has given us this value system in this kid. Now, what is your reference when you see this picture? Empathy is internalized, is characterized in the child by nature. Nature has given us these attributes, these characteristics, these qualities, but as we grow, they change. They change because of environment, because of experience, because of the way we have been brought up. Doesn't matter. Now, outcome-based education system says, if I am not a good boy or good girl, then education system should be such that it helps to make the child, make the student a good human being. How can I do that? I can do it only if I become aware of this thing. How do I become aware of this thing? Through education, through practicing the various effective levels. As we implement the cognitive domain level through verbs, similarly, there are sample verbs available for the affective domain level. That receiving, responding, you can look into the on the internet and use it. Now, what's the relevance of affective domain in education? Kindly appreciate this. What's the relevance? Affective objective emphasizes feelings, emotions, and the degree of acceptance or rejection of given phenomenon. Of given phenomenon मतलब कोई fact है, कोई order है. That's what external stimuli also sometimes called. These objectives occupy limited space in the more traditional sets of curricular objectives. See, in our traditional curriculum, affective domains are not given much importance. Lekin, when I emphasize the value-based education, they become important. But their importance is now becoming more widely recognized when everyone is saying value-based education system, because the values are, are highlighted in the affective domain. Then we are encouraging students to not just receive information at the bottom of the affective harmony hierarchy, but follow that also. We would like for them to respond to what they learn, to value it, to organize it, and maybe given to characterize themselves. For example, maybe science students, science majors, and such. We are also interested in students' attitude towards science, scientists. अब किसी स्टूडेंट को साइंस पसंद नहीं है, किसी उसकी क्या एटीट्यूड है, learning science and so on. That means if we are to build these mindset of the students, if we are to train the mindset, if we are to create the values, if we, among the students, then we need to incorporate affective domain teaching learning in our curriculum. That's important. And please remember, NEP 20, which we will talk about tomorrow, is human values are given a lot of importance. Now, human values, I will say that effective domain, how do you implement effective domain? जैसे मैंने कहा था, how do you implement cognitive domain? Effective domain feelings are implemented through classroom rules, classroom ethics हैं, group assignments, projects, lab work, encouraging students to be honest, punctual, etc. Providing opportunity to develop as independent thinkers, autonomous and self-reliant individual problems. That means assignment that we give, they encourage honesty. They encourage students to think independently and so on. Then psychomotor domain, that is psychomotor domains again involves 5 levels: imitation, manipulation, precision, adaptation, and improvising. Now please, manual skills are very important in our daily life. Now, a good character may not be a good hockey player. When a doctor takes the readings of a patient, reading a stethoscope, how accurately he reads it, how he interprets it. Say in the lab, we are doing lab experiments, chemistry, whether meniscus, reading meniscus. So please see here, the psychomotor domains of Bloom taxonomy involves coordination between brain and muscular or the manual activity. And psychomotor domain includes physical movement, coordination, and use of the muscles and the motor skill areas. It concerns precision, flexibility, speed, strength, endurance, and agility. Finally, see here, it is a very important domain which is part of this. Now, psychomotor domain learning is demonstrated by physical skills such as movement, coordination, manipulation, agility. And kindly see, when we work in the laboratory, many times equipment needs maybe a lot of precision. The lab, depending on the experiments, action that demonstrates a fine or gross motor skill, such as use of precision instruments or tools, etc. Development of these skills require practice and is measured in terms of speed, precision, distance, procedure, and techniques in execution. Psychomotor domain focuses on performing sequences of mechanical activities to a specified level of accuracy, smoothness, rapidity, or force. Underlying the motor activity is cognitive understanding as well. So kindly appreciate why here again it has 5 levels, and Bloom will propose suggest sample work when we are to describe these things. Now, imitation means learns by watching and imitating actions. कई लोग बड़ी जल्दी से कॉपी कर सकते हैं. मैनिपुलेशन, एक्शन परफॉर्म थ्रू मेमोराइजिंग और फॉलोइंग डायरेक्शंस. किसी ने आपको समझाया, आपने मशीन यूज करने के लिए उसको डिप्लॉय किया. देन एक्यूरेसी, proportion, exactness exist in skill performance without the performance of the original source. Articulation, two or more skills combined. Naturalization, two or more skills combined, sequence and performed, which means the manually, for example, you know that even car driving, when I'm driving a car, how many people can do reverse of the car and park it in parallel? This is a manual. Let us say, even if we are doing baseball, that's a manual. How many of us are good in one game? What are the qualities of that game? That means the learning outcomes here are focused on the human manual functions. So, here again, there are verbs. Now, what are the implement strategies for psychomotor domain learnings? Involve students in hands-on activities, incorporate exercises that require physical participation such as sport, drills, or laboratory experiments. Modeling demonstrates skills for learner to observe, prepare, model before attempting them. Progressive complexity start with simple tasks, say game, and gradually. So, which means in order to foster psychomotor skills among the students, laboratory in the engineering context or in the pharmacy context, laboratory skills are very important. That's why laboratories are there in the science courses, in the pharmacy courses, in engineering courses, and others also introducing laboratory courses, maybe in the form of microprocessor lab or computer labs. So, in performed titration, etc. Now, fostering psychomotor learning. How can I foster that? Musical instruments. Learning to play instrument like the piano require coordination between reading music and finger placement. Sport drills, engaging in basketball drills, art project, creating sculptures or paintings. By integrating these strategies into lesson plan, educators can effectively engage students in psychomotor domain, enhancing their overall learning experience and skill development. So please appreciate that we have looked at the Bloom taxonomy and the three proposed domains. Now, these domains are given to us by nature. The purpose of education is to ignite them, to develop them, to enhance them. Because when we enhance them, our generation becomes more and more efficient, they become leaders. Look at the teams. Look at the teams which are world class players. They have incorporated, they have embedded in themselves highest levels of psychomotor training and so on. So Bloom taxonomy, which is enabling us to highlight or focus on the natural abilities of cognitive, mental, affective, and psychomotor. Now, the purpose of education is to ignite them. Now, another very important thing I want to share with you, which you will not come across so easily. How about if I'm combining psychomotor learning with other learning domains? I'm combining psychomotor learning with other learning domains. Combining psychomotor learning with other learning domains, that is cognitive and affective, offer numerous benefits and enhance student learning and education experience. Advantage of this integrative approach are holistic learning experience, comprehensive skill development. By engaging all three of domains, students develop not only physical skills, but also cognitive understanding and emotional intelligence. This leads to a more rounded education where learners can apply knowledge in practical situations while being aware of their feelings and motivation. What is experiential learning? That experiential learning is an example of this. Enhance retention and recall. एक और चीज बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग आपसे शेयर करना चाहता हूँ. See, our brain has neurons. There are a lot of connection between them. If I'm focusing only on the knowledge, the connection between the neurons is of one type. If I am focusing on all the three domains of learning, then it is proved in the neuroscience, neural pathways integrating different domains help create diverse neural networks in our brain, improving retention and recall of information. When students engage in activities that require them to think, feel, and act, please see here, think, cognitive, feel, affective, act, psychomotor, they are more likely to remember the material. That means if our teaching learning integrates these things, then the learning capability of the student improves. The remembering capability of the this is what is the fact is brought out by neuroscience. Increase engagement. Mixing learning domains caters to different learning styles and preferences. कुछ बच्चे बड़े different उनकी capabilities होती है, making lessons more engaging. Students who might struggle with purely cognitive tasks may thrive when physical activity or emotional engagement is also incorporated. Improved problem solving skill. The problem सिर्फ मैथमेटिक्स की या फिजिक्स की या उसमें नहीं होती हैं, प्रॉब्लम हॉकी गेम की भी होती हैं, में प्रॉब्लम योगा में भी होती हैं. Real world application combined. What is the curriculum? See, curriculum refer to the academic contents. Remember, it's not a purely syllabus. Curriculum is educational activities, processes, teaching methods, practices, lab, etc., which we require to impart to the students in order to gain knowledge, develop their skills under the auspices of the institute. It involves syllabus, co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, which are required for developing the full potential of the student. So curriculum helps to specify standards and contents, resources and facilities, instructional and assessment processes, evidence and improvements to ensure students achieve program outcomes. Now kindly see here, can I analyze something without understanding? Can I analyze, if I become a better analyzer, if I know how to apply things? Do you agree or not? Let us say we say distinguish between two essays. I cannot distinguish between two essays until I understand the contents of the essay, the goal of the essay. Now, how do I understand? What is the goal of the essay? I must understand it. What is the criteria of distinguishing? That means I should have certain standards where I can apply that. Then if I have learned what are the rules and I can recall those, that I remember. Thus indicating that if I have to have a good analytical ability, please appreciate, I should be good at recalling things. I should be good at understanding things and applying. Only then I can do a good analytical examination or analytical study. Kindly see, remember please, these are based on hierarchical, hai na? Number one. Number two, these verbs give you only an idea. ये एग्जैक्ट नहीं है. मैनी टाइम पार्टिसिपेंट आ सर कोई फार्मूला नहीं है. इसमें टीचर्स को अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग, अपना स्किल यूज करना है कि किसी सिनेरियो में क्या चीज हो रही है. जस्ट टेक एन एग्जांपल. सपोजिंग यू वांट टू कंपेयर थिंग्स. अब देयर मे बी There may be a overlap between significant compare and distinguish. Now, when I'm saying compare, then I am sending a signal to the student and to the teachers. Comparison means what? Distinction means what? Then I should be able to focusing on that. If I'm very good at evaluating things, just take acquisition and merger problems. I can evaluate different situations. I can be a Lakpati within a couple of years. That means I have developed the skill of looking at situations, evaluating them, comparing them, and coming out what it is. So kindly appreciate these things. These things are not exact. They are empirical and they depend on our understanding. When I'm implementing my course or syllabus outcomes, then it is my judgment. And it is recommended in the outcome based formulation that 2 or 3 teachers should sit together. They should design the learning outcomes. Because learning outcomes are connected with the ability, creativity, or evaluation, because they are helping us to foster these skills in the student. It is quite possible that the grasp of or understanding of X teacher may be slightly different from the understanding of Y teacher. Now, when they club together, then they come out with a learning outcome where it will be focused. Now, in the higher classes, creativity, use verbs, formulate, create, design. So then a student develops a mindset where he is always thinking how to create new things, how to create different situations, how to substitute X with Y, how to change things, and so on. So the cognitive domain, which is the domain concerning the knowledge and mental ability of the student, in order to train them, focus on these, ask the questions. You didn't ask the question, how can I focus it? You can focus it through your questions, through your assignments, through your projects. When I'm giving them a project to create certain, let's say, video, a documentary. Now, please, you will recall, but creating a document, you are using a multimedia tool and creating a, let's say, video or video game or this, you are encouraging the student to apply the knowledge which he has gained, which corresponds to lower levels. Creativity. You want to compare, ask him to compare two news, that is evaluation. So these are the aspects which need to be made part of the classroom teaching. How can I make all these things? I can make it only when our educators, when our teachers are aware of these things, they understand these things, they can discuss with the students how to carry them out. The moment there is a deficiency in our system, our teachers, unfortunately, are not very well conversed with the higher thinking skill attributes, problem solving skills, critical thinking skills. What are they? So, in order to imbibe interpretation, in order to do that, give the assignment to the students, give the project to the students where they are thinking, where they are trying to handle situations which are non-known to them, we are trying to investigate themselves, and so on. These help the student to ignite their thinking abilities. And I demonstrated to you, our human brains have already these aspects in them. Now, when I was discussing psychomotor domain, integrated of these, now take a project. Take a project, let us say, in the field of mechanical engineering, where the student or robots, which are very common nowadays. Now, connecting the various parts, making the observations, interpreting the observations, making them more efficient. These are all the qualities that you are fostering in the student to think in a higher level style. Once remember, higher level thinking skill will make a student very confident, very innovative. Once he develops that autonomous and confidence, he can do many things of his own also. That's why now, all over the world, Bloom taxonomy and outcome-based education has been made the basis of learning, teaching, training of the student, because through this mechanism, we can foster higher thinking skills among the students. Students also understand, we also understand. So we see here why we need curriculum. Curriculum is an integral and basic component of any educational system. It helps to plan the educational processes, practices, and related activities. A good curriculum reflects the needs of the individual and the society as a whole. Curriculum helps to ensure educational and learning quality. Now, every issue needs a good, functional, and effective curriculum to achieve its goals. Now, please see here, students learn from many ways. He learns from teacher-generated materials, online content, soft skills, social skills, right? He workplace, communication, projects. He learns from many things. Now, when he learns from many things, then our curriculum should be such that it addresses all these elements. Students learn from a variety of sources. Curriculum need to address all elements from where the student can learn. Curriculum design is a process to prepare and describe intended please see here, जो हम student को चाहते हैं, focused and thoughtful and systematic learning. Curriculum design involves identifying objectives, activities. Teachers design curriculum. They identify what's to be taught, what is to be taught, how to assess, and so on. So in the traditional and outcome-based curriculum design, in the traditional education system, curriculum is fairly standardized and passed from one group to another group. A standardized curriculum is helpful for educators as they know exactly what needs to be taught, but for learner, a standard curriculum may be unlikable or unsuitable. Our traditional education में curriculum किसी में 5 साल, किसी में 10 साल. I know of universities where course syllabus has not been revised for 15 years. So that is the curriculum is something which is not bringing in the latest among the students. When I say outcome-based education system, you have to attend the needs of the stakeholders, that's the industry, employers. So in outcome-based education, curriculum design as per the needs of students, employers, keeping in mind the skills and students need to develop to work in real-life industry. Here the curriculum is planned and updated on an ongoing manner to keep it aligned with the changing needs of the industry. So types of curriculum is subject-centered design, student-centered design, and problem-centered design. So here, this I will just skip and I will come to outcome-based design curriculum. Outcome-based curriculum is designed by keeping in mind what are our intended learning of the student. Curriculum should meet what we decide the student should learn. So outcome-based curriculum design is based on the principles of outcome-based education framework. And this framework says define what you want your students to, define the graduate attributes, learning outcome, define the teaching and learning appropriate method. For example, examination is good to judge the knowledge, but examination is no good to judge the critical thinking skills. Assessment techniques, evaluation and measurement. How will you evaluate it, measure it, and demonstrate continuous improvement? So curriculum has to be such that it takes into consideration the requirements of the stakeholders and demonstrate continuous improvement. Graduate attributes are abilities, knowledge, and skills. that students should develop because of the education and learning on completing the program. So the institution defines the graduate attributes, the qualities, and they similar in our context. The NB has defined the graduate attributes for our engineering program, BTech program. They're like engineering knowledge, problem analysis, modern tool usage. Now, based on these graduate attributes, we design the program outcomes. They have defined it for the NBA diploma level also, like say project management, efficient in project management. Then in the B Pharma also, they have graduate attributes. There are pharmacy knowledge, planning abilities, problem analysis, modern tool usage, and so on. Kindly see, these are the attributes. These are the qualities of the student which we wanted. These are not measurable. Measurable or remember are always outcomes. From these graduate attributes, we define the program outcomes. Those program outcomes and then the course outcome. These program outcomes and course outcomes are defined using Bloom taxonomy. Now, Bloom taxonomy says where the emphasis is higher thinking skills, lower thinking skills, affective domain, psychomotor domain. So kindly see the connection, graduate attributes, program or course outcomes. Course outcomes are defined with the help of Bloom taxonomy. Now you kindly appreciate the use of this. So we say that graduate attributes in educational curriculum, graduate attributes help us define they are concerned intellectual, professional, personal, and societal needs as expressed as graduate attributes. Then graduate will define the program objectives, program outcomes, core design and learning outcomes, assessment tasks, assessment criteria, and so on. That's how a curriculum is designed. Now, how to prepare and implement effective curriculum? So, effective curriculum prepares scheme and program of student study, which student involves selecting, organizing, implementing, assessing, and evaluating educational material, processes and practices to impart learning and experience on the basis of needs, ability, and interests of students. That is why it is student-centric. So we say factors which influence design of curriculum are student factors. Factors which influence design of curriculum, student factors, subject, psychology, aspiration, बच्चे क्या चाहते हैं, expectation of parents, societal hopes, economic factors, education and training of students, technological factors, environmental factors, government factors. These factors are encapsulated and expressed as graduate attributes, which I mentioned earlier, which help to design the curriculum. So curriculum design should be such which takes care of the cognitive learning, affective learning, and psychomotor learning. Design. Curriculum design should be such that incorporate different types of student learning, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So curriculum should promote integrated teaching of learners, that is emphasis on knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. Integrated mean address all. Presently, we are focusing only on the knowledge, partly on the skill, but that is not enough. So while designing curriculum, focus is on the learner. क्या हम लोग मेरे फर्स्ट ईयर के लर्नर्स हैं, सेकेंड ईयर के लर्नर्स हैं, थर्ड ईयर के लर्नर्स हैं, फोर्थ एमटेक के हैं, पीएचडी के हैं. Emphasis on the learner's ability to understand, do, and demonstrate something. Learning outcomes are designed to facilitate in such a way so that we can assess them, we can measure them, and then lead to that. So OBE model required the curriculum of a program, like say B Pharma or B Tech or MBA, be designed according to the following. It should have a vision and mission, program and objectives, program outcomes, course outcomes for every course which constitute program, delivery, assessment, and continuous improvement processes and practices. So the curriculum that we design should have these features. So in order to outcome-based curriculum and learning outcomes, as we mentioned earlier, they are knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. So curriculum helps to achieve all these things. Nowadays, the emphasis on curriculum which foster higher thinking skill and leads to imbibing human and ethical values among the students. So which means the outcome-based curriculum that we design now should have focus on these, attributes. In order to implement curriculum, so we have designed the curriculum, we need to define the course outcomes which are measurable. And course outcomes help us to measure the program outcome. And program outcomes lead to the fulfillment of the curriculum. So the reason I'm giving you this view is that in order to, we have designed something, so we say, look at this figure, we say we have designed the curriculum keeping in mind the vision, mission, graduate attributes, program outcomes. This is how we design. But when we fulfill the, whether we have fulfilled the objectives of the institute, then we achieve it forward. That means course outcome to program outcome to mission and vision. When we designed the curriculum, we took a view from the graduate attributes, then program outcomes, prepared program outcomes, prepared course outcomes, and so on. So kindly see how we do this thing. Next is the question, is the syllabus. Syllabus is the integral part of the curriculum. See, formal in nature and rigid. We know it is completed in 30 hours or 40 hours or 20 hours. Formal in nature and rigid. Limited in scope and made for one standard only. Include objective related to specific subject, content and standard. Deal with the capacity, ability of students and psychological principles. Studied to be completed 6 times. Useful to teachers for daily teaching. Depends upon the curriculum. Syllabus is only one component of the curriculum. Now, Bloom taxonomy enables us to design the syllabus because we have to see syllabus is at what level? School level, college level, program level, certificate level, diploma level. That means we have to decide we want to design syllabus at what level. So depending upon what we want the student of that program to learn, outcomes of that program. So the process for designing is we take the institution vision and mission, outcome-based curriculum. Please note here. Then we define the department vision and mission. Then we take the programs. Then we design the PO's program outcome, course outcomes, and course outcomes, etc. So this is what I had indicated here. So we design the curriculum and then we try to achieve the curriculum that we have designed by this. So curriculum mapping, what is curriculum mapping? Curriculum mapping is the process of matching learning outcome with elements of curriculum. Create an alignment between goals and learning outcome. May be done at the institutional, program or course level. We say, why should we do it? Curriculum mapping makes it possible to identify where and how the program learning outcomes are addressed. Used to create, verify, or clarify an alignment between what students need do in their courses or curricular activities and what faculty expect them to learn. Helps to identify gaps as well as opportunity for assessment improvement. So when I say curriculum quality audit, how good the curriculum is, please remember, we designed a curriculum keeping in mind the graduate attributes, program outcomes, then our goals at what level we want them, because we designed the program outcomes using Bloom taxonomy. So the curriculum audit is systematic review of the aims, competencies, processes, learning methods, learning resources, and assessment method to compare the curriculum standard with quality of implementation. This is very important. What we prepare meets the standard we have specified. So we say effective implementation of curriculum leads to realizing vision and missional statement, which I mentioned earlier. And then effective and assessment of curriculum by the higher order thinking skill in the class and value-based system, which I mentioned that what is our focus and so on. So modern approach to curriculum design is select course objectives with higher order thinking skills such as synthesis, evaluation, and creativity. express the objectives as knowledge and attitudes which the student should be able to demonstrate on successful. So curriculum need to reflect and meet all local, state level, and global level standards of concern. So that's how a curriculum is designed using Bloom taxonomy and the principles of outcome-based education system. I will stop it here and invite the questions. Thank you very much. Questions, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, it is actually very nice presentation and very elaborate. I have a question. So, while
Please.
setting the COs for lab, we are performing only one experiment. Like in physics, we perform Newton's ring experiment in optics. So, at what level we should fix the Bloom taxonomy?
It,
Will
it depends upon the experiment. Now, please think, उस एक्सपेरिमेंट के करने से स्टूडेंट की लर्निंग क्या है? Think it like this.
बच्चे को
अगर
वेवलेंथ निकालते हैं जो वेवलेंथ वो यूज कर जो लाइट वो यूज कर रहे हैं, तो क्या वहां पे हम थर्ड लेवल पे ले जा सकते हैं इसको के एनालाइज या वो करके?
Please repeat your question again.
Sir, in that experiment they are actually evaluating the wavelength of the light they are using.
वेवलेंथ ना, ठीक है ना? हाँ, ठीक है.
तो अगर वेवलेंथ निकालते हैं, क्या हम उसको थर्ड लेवल पे ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी में लेवल कर सकते हैं?
कौन सी लेवल?
एनालाइज यूज कर सकते हैं?
एनालाइज, हाँ, आप एनालाइज कर सकते हो. आप उससे से पूछिए कि लेट हिम टेक फ्यू मेजरमेंट्स.
हाँ,
जब वो फ्यू मेजरमेंट लेता है तो मेजरमेंट सेम नहीं आएंगी, थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट होंगी.
जी.
जो डिफरेंट क्यों आई है?
डिफरेंट आ रही है, अगर पर्सन टू पर्सन वेरी करता है तो एरर भी कह सकते हैं, हैंडलिंग भी
कोई बात नहीं. नहीं नहीं, देखो ये इसमें ना ये सब लोगों के लिए सेम नहीं होगा. ये डिफरेंट होना भी चाहिए क्योंकि हर एक बच्चा अपने ढंग से सोचता है
जी सर,
और अपने ढंग से उसको इंटरप्रेट करने की कोशिश करता है.
जी.
अच्छा, कुछ चीजें स्टैंडर्ड हैं, वो उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग जो होगी उसी हिसाब से वो सब सिमिलर. जैसे मान लो सोडियम की वेवलेंथ निकाल ली है.
जी.
वेवलेंथ में मान लीजिए आप न्यूटन रिंग यूज कर रहे हो,
जी सर.
ठीक है. अब उसमें आपकी एरर जो है 5% तक अलाउड है.
जी.
अब वो स्टूडेंट से पूछो कि तेरी 5% अगर एरर आई है, इसके रीजन क्या हो सकता है? अगर तेरी 2% आई तो रीजन क्या हो सकता है? अगर तूने अगर तू मेजर नहीं कर सका तो रीजन क्या हो सकता है? अब देखिए इसमें जो हम लोग कोशिश ये कर रहे हैं कि बच्चे का थिंकिंग और एनालिटिकल एबिलिटी जो है डेवलप हो.
जी.
मेरी एरर क्यों हुई? मेरी एरर इसलिए हो सकती है कि जो लेंस रखा हुआ था उसमें उस पर कुछ मिट्टी का दाब या धग्गा या कुछ और हो सकता है, या मेरा लेंस प्रॉपरली नहीं रखा गया, ठीक है ना, या मेरी जो फोकसिंग जो लाइट पड़ रही थी वो ठीक तरह से नहीं पड़ रही थी. अब ये सब इसे गोल ये होता है कि वी हैव टू मोटिवेट द स्टूडेंट टू थिंक कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ. ऐसा अगर मान लीजिए गलत हुआ है तो गलत क्यों हुआ, गलत को ठीक करने के लिए मुझे क्या करना होगा. हमें स्टूडेंट में ये हैबिट इम्बाइब करनी है. जब स्टूडेंट एक तो शॉर्टकट है, नकल करके ले गया, चलो ठीक है, वो उसमें की लर्निंग नहीं हुई. लर्निंग से तब हुई जब आपने स्टूडेंट को भी तुम्हारा ठीक आ गया, बड़ा अच्छा है, लेकिन इसमें गलत होने के चांसेस क्या हो सकते हैं. आपने स्टूडेंट को मोटिवेट किया वो अपना सोच विचार करने के लिए कि इस एक्सपेरिमेंट से क्या क्या पॉसिबिलिटी मिस्टेक हो सकती हैं, गलतियां हो सकती हैं, उनको ठीक कैसे किया जा सकता है, उसको इम्प्रूव करने के लिए मैं क्या क्या सोच सकता हूँ. आपने ये सब चीज़ें स्टूडेंट को मोटिवेट किया सोचने के लिए. दैट्स ए लर्निंग ऑफ हायर ऑर्डर.
यस सर.
इस तरह मान लो टॉर्चर पैनल एक्सपेरिमेंट ले लो, ठीक है ना, वहां पर तुम्हारी वो पैरेलल मूव भी करनी होती है. अब सारे बच्चे ढंग से पैरेलल मूव नहीं कर पाते हैं. क्यों नहीं कर पाते हैं? ये आप बच्चों को कहो कि सोचो क्यों नहीं कर पाते हो. ये दिस साइकोमोटर लर्निंग. तो बच्चे को ये चैलेंज किया आपने कि तेरी गलती इसलिए हो रही थी कि तू ऐसे नहीं सोच रहा था. तो हमने उस बच्चे को मोटिवेट किया कि वो ठीक ढंग से सोचे और ठीक ढंग से उसको इंटरप्रेट करे. इस तरह से आप हर एक्सपेरिमेंट के लिए आप जो है स्टूडेंट को मोटिवेट कर सकते हो। और जो कहोगे जो बच्चा मुझे कॉपी ना करके ठीक करके लाएगा, ना ना सॉरी, गलत का गलत ले आएगा और साथ में लिख देगा रीजन गलत क्यों हुआ है, इस गलती को ठीक करने के लिए मैं ये करूंगा, मैं 10/10 दूंगी।
बिल्कुल
उससे क्या हुआ, स्टूडेंट के बोर्ड हो गया कि उसने ठीक करना भी सीख लिया और गलती से जो हुई थी उस गलती से क्या लर्न किया। प्लीज रिमेंबर, लर्निंग फ्रॉम मिस्टेक इज ऑलवेज ए ग्रेट लर्निंग। ये हमें स्टूडेंट को इनकरेज करना है।
जी सर, थैंक यू सो मच। Actually, we have learned many things from your slide. Some new terms are there in your slide. So we enjoyed this session. Thank you, sir.
हाँ जी,
सर आपके स्लाइड्स में बहुत सारे नए टर्म्स थे जो हमें पता नहीं थे, तो वी ऑल एंजॉयड योर प्रेजेंटेशन। थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू। नहीं मैडम, ऐसा है, आई एम नॉट अप्रिशिएटिंग माई सेल्फ। इस मेरा गोल क्या होता है, मेरी मेरी आई हैव डन मोर देन 100 वर्कशॉप। मेरा गोल क्या होता है, सी आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन सिस्टम सेज करने के बाद मैंने क्या लर्न किया। सो माई गोल इज व्हेन माई पार्टिसिपेंट अटेंड माई लेक्चर, they should be able to say themselves what they have learned.
यस सर।
अब देखिए, आई नो नो वन डिस्कसेस विद यू साइकोमोटर डोमेन व्हेन यू इंटीग्रेट विद अदर डोमेन। स्टूडेंट के थिंकिंग स्किल्स कौन कौन से डेवलप होते हैं, नो वन विल डिस्कस दीज थिंग विद यू, बट नाउ you will have appreciation of this. So learning will take time, but you will have appreciation that how important psychomotor domain is also.
यस सर।
साइकोमोटर डोमेन, लैब में साइकोमोटर डोमेन ही यूज होता है और साइकोमोटर डोमेन में भी क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग स्किल आ जाता है,
जी सर।
उसमें प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल आ जाता है। तो वंस यू मोटिवेट द स्टूडेंट्स अबाउट दिस थिंग, यू विल सी स्टूडेंट विल रिस्पॉन्ड वेरी पॉजिटिवली।
यस सर, थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू।
सर आपकी स्लाइड मिल सकती है?
नहीं, साइलाइड नहीं दूंगा,
थैंक यू
गुप्ता जी से
सर।
कहो।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू, सॉरी। ये चीजें गुप्ता जी से पूछा करो।
जी सर, कोई बात नहीं। एक्चुअली
नहीं,
कई चीजें नई थी तो हम सब कुछ तो एकदम से ग्रास्प नहीं कर पाए, तो थोड़ा बहुत पता चल जाता है उससे। कोई बात नहीं सर, थैंक यू।
चलिए, थैंक यू ग्रोवर साहब, थैंक यू। एनीवन एल्स?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bro, sir.
यस,
It's very informative. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Please try to imbibe the principles of higher learning among the students as we learned from Bloom taxonomy. That will make our students very creative, very generative, and our society will improve. We will be creators of the knowledge. Thank you, participants, for your patience and for your attention.